Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Board. Tonight I'm bringing to you my 100 days report. I can safely say that this has been the most interesting journey and probably the most intense 100 days in my career. It has been richly rewarding, and I want to thank everyone for the warm welcome and guiding hands that were offered as I navigated myself through the educational landscape of Manassas. Over the past 100 days, I've discovered wonderful assets and uncovered obstacles and paved a pathway that I would like to structure through this report. At the beginning of our work, we established transitional goals, and through this report, I will be outlining those transitional goals as well as a budgetary process. I began as superintendent on July 2nd, 2012, intent on listening first so that I could investigate and evaluate the practices, procedures, and goals of Manassas City Public Schools. I listened to many diverse constituencies in the city of Manassas in order to build the relationship necessary for student success. And through this process of engagement, a plan was developed for the most part that will continue to grow throughout the rest of the year. By the end of the year, it will be replaced by a strategic plan that will guide our growth and improvement process. My 100-day process developed a deeper understanding of the division, the community and its stakeholders, and bridged a greater connection with our schools and the community. Key issues as well as accomplishments have surfaced, allowing us to identify the tasks that need to be done. The assets center mostly around people. Manassas City Public Schools employs a significant number of dedicated and talented educational leaders, teachers, and support staff who care deeply about educating students. Our teachers and administrative staff recently demonstrated their commitment through the Race to the Top application. And if you'll remember during that time, the nights that they dedicated to that process, the central office staff took to writing for the teachers and the administrators, but it truly was a product of our teachers and administration, something that I've never seen at the level that it was done here. And during my school and classroom visits, I had the opportunity to witness outstanding teaching and learning that supports the perception that I had from that event. Without reservation, I can say that our employees see our students as their primary focus. Our assets also include excellent programs in fine arts, athletics, STEM, and student clubs. We have a K-12 instruction focused on the mastery of the Virginia Standards of Learning, gifted programming for students, and expert outside organizations offering science and classroom programs. Elementary schools focus on student growth by offering pathways of study focused on the whole child. At the middle and intermediate schools, the schedule emphasizes academics and the fine arts, along with athletics. The high school offers a wide range of advanced placement offerings and dual enrollment classes. The Governor's School at Innovation Park is open to our students. The Division CTE program also has an A+ certification in computer hardware. And in the area of fine arts, the band and chorus programs recently received regional and state recognition. We took a huge step toward cooperation with a joint resolution with the city as part of our joint capital improvement plan. We conducted a community meeting at Mayfield Intermediate School with excellent participation and input from families and taxpayers. And I truly feel that action has brought us closer to the community because we've talked about what we do every day, and that's one of the hardest things to do is talk about what we do in terms that the community knows and understands and then asks for their input. It's very, very powerful. The obstacles need to be removed so we can move forward. Our technology and communication audits revealed that we are behind the times. We need to make a commitment to improve both our administrative and instructional technology and find creative and efficient ways to proactively communicate with constituents. The recent audit recommended the development of an improvement plan to update current infrastructure, hardware, and software to standardize the use of both hardware and software across the division and provide professional development for all staff across the division. The next steps for improving our communication to the community includes an overhaul of the websites, communications training, increased use of social media, and more business and community partnerships. Jamie Vollmer is a businessman turned public schools advocate who wrote a book, Schools Cannot Do It Alone. He makes the case that without public support, we can't win. The additional burdens that have been placed on our public schools over the past 50 years is mind-boggling, yet we are the foundation of democracy and the economic engine of our community. We must remove the us versus them mentality when it comes to evaluating schools. It's all us. So in order to gain cooperation and commitment, we must plan our future through an inclusive process. We can accomplish anything with public support. We need families to become more involved in their children's education. The number one factor in the success of a child is the influence of their home environment and their loved ones. So we will embark on a multimedia campaign called Be There, inspiring all of our parents to engage with their children during the ordinary moments of life so that they know how to value education. The campaign starts early 2013. Remember, schools cannot do it alone. We need your support in order to succeed. Now, the bottom line is that we must raise test scores across the division and increase the graduation rate at Osborne High School. We have 2 elementary schools that were identified as focal schools due to reading achievement gaps in subgroups. We must close achievement gaps at all schools. To accomplish this, the following academic focus areas have been established as part of the school improvement process. We must have students reading by the end of 1st grade. We cannot send kids out of 1st grade not knowing how to read and have them be successful by 3rd grade, ready to learn at that reading stage. We must improve writing in grades 2 through 12. There must be significant growth in all grade levels in the area of mathematics. English language learners must acquire academic language mastery and fluency within 3 years, and that is a challenge because research says it takes 5 to 6, but we have got to get this done in 3 years with our kids because they don't have time to waste. We must increase overall student performance in all content areas. We've got to quit just focusing on reading and math. It's everything that every subject that a child takes is important. There must be significant academic growth for students with disabilities. We must work to increase the number of students participating in extracurricular activities, clubs, and overall leadership roles. All 7th grade students will have a career plan by the end of 7th grade, and it will be reviewed for high school during their registration in 8th grade. Our graduation rate must be above the state benchmark. All students must be on track to graduate by the end of 10th grade. All high school graduates must be college or work ready. Now, there have been no benchmarks attached to these statements because every school will take these statements and match it to their current test scores or the participation that they have with their children. So with all these assets and obstacles, how do we get there? I believe that we've paved a pathway to success. The rest of this 100-day report will follow the transition goals that framed my work during the first 100 days. These were established as early priority areas when I arrived, and these goals provide a foundation for our pathways. The Manassas City Public School Board is strongly committed to the success of the students in the division. We are in the process of better defining roles and responsibilities of board members and the superintendent, so we have a singular focus on improving educational opportunities for all students. The school board and superintendent, through staff and community collaboration, are in the process of developing a 6-year strategic plan focusing on improving student achievement, improving communication and community engagement, fiscal management, the development of a multi-year facilities plan, and improving administrative and instructional technology. Our next steps will encompass the completion of the school board policy manual and the strategic planning process, and then to review and finalize the CIP, a 5-year maintenance plan, followed by the 2013-14 school budget. I believe we have established a solid foundation for a productive working relationship. Today, our students have greater opportunities than ever before. They face greater competition for those opportunities. Our high school graduates not only compete with other Virginia graduates, but graduates nationally and internationally. To meet this challenge, this generation and future generations of workers must not only have the academic skills, but they must have specific soft skills in order to succeed. We cannot be satisfied with business as usual if we are truly committed to graduating students with choices and opportunities. Where we are achieving success, we must celebrate and replicate, and where we identify weaknesses, we must make quick and focused actions for dramatic improvement. Of great importance are the division's academic test results and the need to increase the graduation rate at Osborne High School. We are well on our way to meeting these objectives, and we are ready for the next steps. Accountability and student achievement are fundamental to what we do every day for every student. An executive director for assessment and accountability has been designated to lead the process. Parents and community have expressed the desire to have choice through theme and magnet schools. Principals are beginning to evaluate their students' and community's needs, focusing on choice and opportunities for all students. Currently, we have had one elementary school that is investigating a theme program of instruction. Counselors play a critical role in the success of our students. A common counseling framework is important for our students' success. The counselors and administrators selected the American School Counselors Association, the ASCA model, for the division, and training is beginning. Schools cannot continue to work in silos. Economic and ethnic diversity are not the overall causes for minimal gains or subgroup performance. A school improvement process for schools to share their strengths and practices so other schools can produce the same results must be established. Our students have echoed this in their conversations with the superintendent. They want to be taught the way they learn best, and they want to be active participants in their learning. School improvement planning must include all staff members, and school improvement committees must have parents at the table as members of the committee. How we schedule for instruction is important in improving student achievement and the budget process. Metz Middle School will begin next year with a middle school schedule supporting 2 encore classes instead of 3 during the school day. Social studies and science will be year-long classes. Foreign language will be taught as a core subject in place of reading for those students who wish to take foreign language and who are reading at or above grade level. Research has proven that foreign language instruction increases the reading ability and knowledge of our students. In order to maximize per pupil costs, the minimum class size in all schools will be 19, so that teacher salaries can be fully funded, except for classes mandated at lower class size for state or federal guidelines, and we receive special funding for those lower class sizes. The Johnson Learning Center will further expand into a non-traditional student pathway to better meet the needs of all Osborne High School students. It will offer a business-like atmosphere where students complete coursework using an online curriculum and project-based learning. Students will have access to Osborne CTE program and NOVA, and we are currently working with NOVA to find out where how their pathways can assist our students so that we can offer them more learning opportunities and deeper learning opportunities in technical fields. Student engagement is one of the driving forces in creating high-achieving schools in which students graduate with options for their futures. Continuing to support students by encouraging their participation will enhance the overall climate of the high school. It also will increase our graduation rate. In meetings with our high school students, they verbalized that they want to see their peers more involved in their school. Programs like fine arts, athletics, clubs and organizations, and the student government provide them many avenues for involvement. A professional development and fine arts coordinator position was posted, and the interview process is underway. Once the coordinator is identified, a professional development program will be established for all employees. Employee input will be sought in order to establish program goals and professional learning opportunities. We will continue to monitor the implementation of the teacher evaluation program through the Teacher Evaluation and Assessment Committee. To support employee growth, a leadership academy for teachers and administrators will begin in the 2014-15 school year. Next year, a committee will be established to develop a teacher leadership academy for teachers who want leadership opportunities but who do not wish to leave the classroom. We will also have a pathway in the Leadership Academy for teachers who wish to become administrators and for our current administrators who wish to be principals or work at the central office level. As I mentioned earlier, our people are an asset, our most valuable asset, but they cannot perform without a fair and rigorous evaluation process and professional development. We are woefully behind other divisions in providing all staff, and I mean all staff, with the kind of training they need to prepare themselves and our students for maximum success. We also need leadership development so that there's upward mobility within our ranks. And finally, we need to ensure our students have access to quality instruction, and this will be a priority in my budget proposal. I believe that we have made great strides in the first 100 days, but we still have a long way to go. It's felt like 100 years some days. All of our staff and leaders must be on board to promote our schools. Our families must be on board to support our teachers and principals, as well as our children. And together, we'll make a powerful force. Finally, people have asked repeatedly about the budget process and accountability. That can't be answered in 100 days. Budget needs and practices are still being evaluated. Budget, facility maintenance, and the CIP are linked together and provide an overall foundation in establishing an environment conducive to learning for all students. A 5-year maintenance plan will be completed by December and incorporated into the budget process. The CIP process has been an ongoing activity with the city and community, and the CIP process is important for the division as the student population is continuing to grow while our buildings continue to age. Through the years, the instructional needs have stretched the capacity of our buildings. Additional classrooms for art and music, computer labs for instruction and state testing, pre-K programs, and smaller student-teacher ratios for general education and special education and instruction are stretching our schools beyond their capacities. I want to remind that, some of our buildings are 40 and 50 years old, and 40 and 50 years ago, those same buildings had 35 and 40 kids in a classroom back in those times. And today, we have 23 or less in our elementary classrooms, which means that, we have fewer rooms with more kids. As proposed, a proposed CIP will be presented in January to the school board. The school board will review the plan following the presentation and will advise the superintendent of any changes to the CIP and the 5-year maintenance plan. With transparency and accountability for student achievement and fiscal responsibility, a course of action to put in place, the budget process for the 2013-14 school year will be developed through a zero-based process. Allotments, programs, and services will be funded only after careful evaluation to determine need and value to student achievement. Beginning at the end of the 2013 school year, a yearly program evaluation will take place to monitor achievement and program costs. A balanced scorecard will be used to monitor the 6-year strategic plan. And finally, an annual State of the Division report will be published by November of each year, beginning November 2013. In summary, my first 100 days discovered many assets, uncovered obstacles, and put us on a pathway to success. My priorities include higher achievement for all students, community connections and communication, enhancing instructional and administrative technology, sound fiscal management, and building trust through an inclusive planning process. This will result in a budget that aligns with our goals and places us on a pathway where all stakeholders are marching in the same direction. Now I leave you with this thought. We all own the graduate. Whether you were a kindergarten teacher, a parent, a local businessman, a middle school counselor, an elected official, a taxpayer, or a high school principal, we all own the graduate. When these kids graduate, they make us very, very proud. But when they drop out, they become a drain on society. If we all take ownership, if we become part of the solution, then we will achieve our goals. Thank you.
Dr. Magouyrk, thank you.
Are there any questions?
Board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Maria?
I don't really have any questions. I just want to make sure that how much you know that I appreciate the fact that we're not looking at 70 or 80 or 90% of our kids. The all students was through their time after time after time. We're not going to let 30% of our kids go just to make the number. It's for all our students, and I appreciate that outlook because every one of them are precious.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments, thoughts? Mr. Williams?
I was going to save it till the end, but I wanted to thank Dr. Magouyrk for her report, and not only your thoughtfulness, but how diligent you were in looking at all aspects of our school system is something that we really need to do, and I appreciate you doing that, and kudos to you for the great job you've done so far, and I wish you well going forward.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Mrs. Sebeski?
Chair, I too want to thank you for your report. I totally agree that you've seen that we have some great things going on here, and you understand the need to make sure the community is aware of that. You always said from the beginning there were obstacles. We told you there were obstacles. Identifying those is the only way to go forward, and you've presented that here tonight. So thank you for all the hard work you've put in the first 100 days, and I know it's been a lot of hours, and the work is appreciated and noticed, and we look forward to the continued next more than 100 days.
100 years.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bushnell?
Dr. Magouyrk, I also think it's really important that we don't lose sight of what you've already accomplished in the first 100 days. Besides the fact that you're analyzing and figuring out what to do, you're also making changes, and I think some of that gets lost even in the presentation, that you've already made a change in the way that MEDS's schedule is going to be done for next year. You've made changes in the way that the high school is organized for the benefit of all of the students. You've made changes that have already been taken into consideration and acted upon, and that you're making those changes in a daily fashion. So, you know, it's important that people understand that you didn't sit back and spend your first 100-day analyzing things. You've also been taking actions and will continue to do so. And you know, we applaud your efforts in terms of making all of our students successful and raising our test scores and doing all of the other things that are going to make all of these students successful. But you know, don't shortchange yourself by saying that here's a report on what I've done in my first 100 days, because you also are taking actions every day and will continue to do so, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Just keep pushing forward.
Or do you want to say anything?
Yes,
Ms. Marie?
there was a lot of work that went into this report, and I really like a lot of the objectives that you laid out, and I appreciate your being so forthright about where we need to go and the obstacles that need to be overcome. I'm still a little bit spinning over research shows that it takes 5 to 6 years, but we've only got 3, so I'm curious to see how we're going to do that. And I'm talking about the fluency with the English language. You know, at some point, we've got to say, guys, give us what we need to succeed and let us do what we need to do and do it the right way. But one thing that I really want to encourage is that this be made available to each of the committees that are participating on the strategic planning, because there's a lot of goodness in this report and what you laid out, and the way you describe some of the challenges as a result of the audits. I think that is good information for the committee members to know, because it's going to be that strategic plan and the execution of that plan that's going to get you to that vision that you've laid out into this plan. So I look forward to seeing that as we go forward in the next step of your endeavor.
Thank you.
Dr. Magouyrk, thank you on behalf of the board. I mean, I think you've heard a lot of the right positive comments coming back. The first 100 days, more or less, has been an incredible journey, as you said, for you, and I appreciate your candor. Mrs. Perry's word is forthrightfulness. I think that's exactly correct. You came out this evening and you talked about the good and the not so good. The fact that you've had independent audits of our communications, of our technology. We know we're engaged in a process right now with the community to talk about facilities. We're engaged in a multi-year strategic planning process so that we can follow through on the things you're talking about, the transparency, the community engagement, and ultimately what we'll see when you present a budget in February, as you talked about, is zero-based budgeting, that we're going to start from the ground up and do what's right so that we get to the end game, as the slide says, which is all students graduating. They're our future. So thank you, and I look forward to continuing to support you and working together with you, our city leaders, the community, to make sure that we have the best school system possible.
Thank you.